going to fit the category. But that doesn't mean we'll throw out the rest of your nominations either. But yeah, just do us a favor, take a little extra time this year, and get somebody in every category. There's plenty of deserving businesses to be recognized in the Reggies. So
yeah, that's the 41 is the one that gets me, because I'm like, how old are people nowadays? Because it's been in a while. I'm like, wait, how old is that? I mean, we just, even here locally, we didn't get to have our 25th anniversary for our high school reunion because of COVID this year. But to look back, I'm like, man, that's a long time ago. So to think, okay, how long have some of these people been around? Who's new? And you definitely don't want to say, hey, how old are you? Because it doesn't work out the best with everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do that though. I'm going to reach out to all these people and say, hey, how old are you?
Yeah.
So I know I look 25, people, but no, I'm not eligible for the 40 and under.
So maybe next year you need to have rising star, and then you need to have established star.
Well, that supposedly is the ambassador category. Established star. So
Good point.
Yeah. So anyhow, if for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, over at the podcast that I do on Fridays with another friend of mine, Terry Combs, we do an annual award show called the Reggies. With Decorators Community. It's kind of a People's Choice Award. So we let everybody nominate. We let everybody vote. There's no panel. There's no, should this guy be in? Should this guy not be in? It's like, if people want them in there, they nominate them. If people want to vote for them, they vote for them. Anyhow, so that the nominations are happening right now as we speak over at, that's tworegularguys.com/Reggies. And I'll put that in there real quick while we take a look at this. But let's see what comments we've got rolling in. All right, Kevin, good evening. Great to have you here, Kevin. Alicia says, I've been dealing with pneumonia for the last 3 weeks because the doctor wanted to wait until they got my COVID results back. Oh, yuck. Sorry about that, Alicia. So hopefully starting to get better. That's not what you have, is it, Todd?
No, I think I'm just, I just got a stomach issue. I mean, it's crazy now, because before you were sick, and now you don't want to tell anybody because they assume that you have COVID right away. And it's like, listen, I don't have a fever. I can smell and I can taste. Because I went through it, as I told people, that I wasn't feeling the greatest to cancel that. I got quite a few messages that were like, what are your symptoms? I'm like, you're just like, you have COVID. Did you go get tested? Go get a test. I'm like, so I haven't had a fever. I can smell and I can taste. They said I thought it was more of a head congestion that went into kind of a stomach bug type thing. And there's no COVID there. So leave me alone.
All right. So Todd does not have COVID. That's good. And Alicia, I'm assuming that since the doctor wanted to wait and you have pneumonia, that you do not have COVID either. So that is also good. But sure hope that you get better from the pneumonia ASAP. And all right, so let's see here. We're talking about age again. Renee mentioned the older you get, the younger everyone else looks. Yeah, like college kids to me. And I know Renee's got a college kiddo now. They look like they're like 12. Yeah. Like my son's 9 and I'm going, all right, you don't look a whole lot different from the neighborhood college kid. So anyways, all right. Pilar, hello. Thanks for being here. Here is that link, Todd. If anybody wants to go check that out. And there are 15. In fact, there's a countdown at the top. There's 15 days, 0 hours, 50 minutes, and 43 seconds left. 40.
Now, you guess that just answered my question. I'm like, 15 days. That's a lot of math. What day does that close on?
November 5th.
November 5th. Okay.
At 5 p.m.
At 5 p.m.
No, 6 p.m. All right.
When from there, these are just who's nominated. So then we'll get we'll have the voting start the following week. Is that?
Yeah. So then on the 6th, we'll read all the nominations, and then we'll announce the 5 people that are getting voted on in each category. And that will be live on the 6th of November. And that normally goes for about a month. I can't remember exactly what day we've got the actual announcements on. Let's see here. My guess is it's the 11th, but I don't know for sure off the top of my head here. I'd have to go check out a calendar. So,
and then the winners get their plaques sometime in 2021 or 22?
23. Yeah, I told that story on Two Regular Guys, and I'm still eating crow. Yeah. So every year, the Reggie Award winners, they get a plaque and a coffee mug. And in years past, I kind of would get them ready before trade show season started, and we basically try to hand deliver as many as we could because the Two Regular Guys is a free program, so I'm trying to avoid paying for shipping where possible. And it's always fun to be able to hand them face to face to people, and photo ops and all that kind of fun jazz. So anyhow, go to Kansas City. Kansas City's basically the last show. Come back, and I totally spaced the fact that I didn't get any of the Reggie Awards for 2019 done. And for some reason, I had it in my head that, because normally I'll send it off to a company and just have them make them and ship them the extra ones. Pick the Gift, who I've done work with for here. But this year I just didn't do it. And so anyhow, I spent this week making mugs and shipping plaques and mugs. In fact, so I made a video about how to make the plaques. So
I saw that. I think you did very well at that. And in fact, after I watched it, I told Corey, I said, see, Aaron gets a cameraman. Why can't I have a cameraman? Like, you know what's easier that would make my life? Hit this button, move this one here. I'm like, if StreamYard would just have like the switcher, oh, that would make my life easy. Because then I can, hit the button and here's what we're going to do here. And but no, yes, very well done. I liked it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Kylie did a fantastic job holding the camera for me and zooming in and out and all that kind of fun stuff. So I appreciated that. And did that. 2019 Reggie Awards finally hit the door. UPS has them all, so people should be getting them soon. And and we will try to do much better job of getting 2020 out a little more timely this next year. So, all right, let's see who else is checking in. Alicia, yet no, I do not have COVID. That's good. Terry, appreciate you checking in. Hello. And Darren, hello. And Jesse, appreciate you checking in. Renee says, Todd, you have 27 kids. Train one of them to work the camera. I would agree with that, Renee. Todd?
Well, the big thing with that is currently we only have 3 that are in the house, and one is a teen that likes doesn't like school but likes to work. So I can only imagine the filming that I would get with a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old. And an 18-year-old would just kind of look at you and just be like, "What are you doing?" Why that's
You're like, funny, do you want to have a roof over your head? Then hold this thing.
There's that sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly. So I've actually had my 9-year-old do some camera work for me before, but he's I don't know, 5 and 6 might be a little bit too young. Yeah.
Yeah, you've had him do the whole thing. He's done the camera work, the presenter. He's done it all. I mean, you're setting him up to be able to take care of you. So
exactly, that's the whole goal.
Working there. I've got them. They've helped not necessarily with the weeding, but they're good with taking the scraps away from the table and building stuff out of that. Like they realized that as we're doing these, that if I can grab it. That these whites, they make great snowmen. So you can, put them together in all the balls, and they're making snowmen out of them. So
very nice,
fun and creative there. And they've done after we've done some masking, we'll let them go ahead, put the extra touch on it. So you're getting them involved. They've learned that hey, when they see this light on, that means it's don't come in here bothering me.
That's good. That's good. Yes, when I move back home to the home studio, we'll have to set up a way to close the door, so to speak. So
we need that, and then the red light. That's what I'm figuring out here. Kelly has she redid her office at home. She's got these sound deadening curtains.
Nice.
Which are ridiculous because you can hear plenty of stuff outside the curtain, and then you come behind that, and it's just gone. So we're trying to see how we can kind of make that section of it kind of pull off into there, and
nice.
That might be something we're looking at doing.
Awesome. Well, Kelly does some great stuff, and those of you that aren't familiar with who we're talking about with Kelly, that's Kelly DeFries from the Crystal Ninja, and does some awesome videos and things like that, and then all the amazing work that she does. So I'll have to check out that sound deadening curtain too. I was going to head to the fabric store and get some felt. So
Yeah,
maybe there's something a
I'll
little
get a
better
link.
there.
I'll get a link and I'll have her posted in the group of here's what she uses for this, because it was really, you never know. You never know. You wonder if stuff's going to work, and that's always better when somebody else gets it first.
Exactly. All right. Let's see here. We've got a Facebook user checking in. So if for some reason you're coming up as Facebook user, here's what we would like you to do. If you don't mind, please head over to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give them permission so we know who we're talking to. And that will help us. If you're probably catching us from one of the groups, like the Business Basics group, for whatever reason, Facebook doesn't allow the groups without express permission, and they clear the permissions all the time, and it's just a huge pain in the butt. So thank you, Facebook. All right. And Missy, appreciate you being here. All right, Todd, should we get to the next one here?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. It's time to upgrade my press. What should I look for? Something that heats up.
Yeah, heats up. Okay, next question.
Okay.
Well, I think, what should you look for? I would say a name brand for sure. Stay away from, eBay and Amazon, because, while they can work amazing, chances are they're not going to work amazing forever. Yeah. So when upgrading, I would do that because you are going to get a better quality product. But there's some great heat presses out there, and a lot is really going to depend on what you need it to do.
Sure.
You can get different sizes. You can get auto opens. You can get, the clamshells that you have to manually open. What would those be called? Because it's an auto open clamshell. Those are just clamshells, right? There's nothing special name about them, is there?
Just an auto release. Yeah. I don't think anything special about that.
I personally, I've had great luck with the Hicks, and I've had great luck with my Stahl's Hotronics, and I know others that have had great luck with their DKS 20. And what are you using, Aaron?
I've got a George Knight. I can't remember which number it is. It's an auto release. I'm not thrilled with it. I like the DK20S. I think that's a pretty good press. The other press that I like that are not as mainstream that I think are worth checking out. Now they're expensive, but they're built like tanks. Are the Insta? The Insta presses that if you're trying to do laser transfers, things like that, I mean, you can just lean on those things. You can beat them up. They're tanks. The Hotronics, the Fusions were always great. So I think Hicks, Geonite, Insta, Hotronics. Am I missing any? Hicks, Geonite. I think those are the big four. If I'm missing one, let me know. But I don't think you can really go too wrong with any of those. And I think a lot of it boils down to, like Todd said, what are you going to be doing with it? What is your use, the main use going to be for it? Because that'll determine what kind of press you get, whether it's a swing away, a drawer, a clamshell, auto release, not auto release, because if you're going to be doing a lot of sublimation, I actually would not get the auto release system.
Yeah. I've had great luck so far with it, but then again, I know when I hear those beeps to get my ass over there, because hey, there's a chance that that you're going to create that vacuum to pull it up and go something. So
yeah, totally. Yeah. So I think but here's the way I look at it too, Todd, is so let's say, I don't know, what would be a price that you pay for a 16 by 20 press off of, eBay or Amazon or whatever?
Oh, $300.
$300. Okay. And how long would you expect something like that to last for?
3 days.
3 days. Let's just say,
let's say $1 a day. Maybe a year. It depends.
A year, 2 years, 3 years tops, probably, right?
How much you use it. If you're only using it here and there, and you're a hobby, a hobby home crafter, who's going through it here and there, yeah, it's perfect for you. But if this is something that you're leaning on day in, day out for, 8 hours a day, I don't know how long it's going to last for. I'd say if you get a year out of it, that's probably about the norm. 2 years I think to me would be amazing if you got that out of it.
Yeah. So even if you got 2 years out of it and it was $300, so 2 years, $300, So that's what's that, $150 a year, basically, right? Okay. So let's say you go and you buy one of the four that we talked about, the Hotronics, the Geonites, the Instas, the Hicks, any of those. You're going to pay what, $1,500 to $2,000, maybe a little bit more, depending on all the bells and whistles you get with it.
Yeah. What size did you say for a heat press before?
1620.
16 by 20. Okay. I just want to see what they're actually going for, because I haven't looked for a while on Amazon, and see. Well, you continue on.
Okay, so let's just say it's $2,000, just for giggles, and let's say that thing's going to last you 20 years at least. I mean, they've got lifetime warranties on a lot of this stuff. I knew somebody that had one of those Instapresses, and they claimed that they basically used it every day for 30 years and it still worked just as well as it did the first. So let's just say 10 years. So that's 200. If it's 2,000, that's $200 a year. So let's say 20 years. I didn't do my math very well to make the point here. So
you're like, yeah, just buy what they're disposable.
If it's 20 years, then that's $100 a year. So anyhow, I think just a big part of it, what I'm trying to say here, though, is just look at it from an investment standpoint. Because here's the other side of it, too, is not only are you going to have a lot more longevity out of it, but you're also going to have much more even heat. You're going to have much more even pressure. If you're doing sublimation, you're going to be ruining a lot less blanks. And a lot of things you're going to have a lot better success on. Whereas some of these less expensive models, there's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of like, this worked one time and then didn't work on the next and then worked on the next, that kind of so you got all that spoilage that you're paying for. And, Janessa, I totally agree with this point, so certainly not trying to talk down to anybody that has one of these. And it's a great starter point, but I would just do everything in your power to realize that if you're getting into a lot of the businesses that we're talking about, sublimation, heat transfer, vinyl, anything where we're heat pressing here, that's the corner. That's the centerpiece of your business. So, that's worth the investment probably more so than anything.
I'm actually putting it in here in the comments. This was the maybe it'll take it. We'll see. This is the last heat press that I actually bought off Amazon, and the reason being is it is a having trouble. Please connect. Yeah, we'll see how that works. But it's a 16 by 24, and it is, instead of north and south, it's east and west. So the reason that I got that was when I was doing the Home Depot doormats. It was one press. You didn't have to move anything because you didn't have to worry about, can you slide enough of it into the back without it coming off there? Is there enough side to side? It was one and done, and it worked out great. And as far as I know, it's still in use. I lent it out to somebody and plan on getting it at a trade show this year. And hey, there hasn't been a trade show up there, so I haven't had a real big need for it. But that's what I got it for, because that's all it was going to be used for. It was going to do that, and that was it. Pressure was set for it. Everything was good to go, and I love being able to do it with it. So that was the last one, and that one was $370. Right now, it's $380 is what it is right now.
Yeah, totally. So Jess says, "I hate my auto release." It just depends on what you're using it for. Honestly, yeah, I definitely bought the heat press as kind of an afterthought, and really should have thought through that a little bit more. For the direct to garment stuff, I can see it to a certain extent, but I don't know. I just it definitely causes more problems than it's worth to me. But
right. And for us, when we've had, because I think we've got 4 presses, and 3 of them are auto opens, right? But it's when you're doing a production thing, especially something that's front and back. You can just set it go to the next one, then come back. Oh, it's great for that. But if you're doing sublimation that way, you need to be there, because that whole vacuum. It's like me and sublimation. That's why we just don't get along the greatest on soft goods. On hard goods, I don't have a problem with it. It seems to be working pretty well for me on that. But
Sure.
that's
Yeah, I
my
mean, I can definitely see, if you're doing heat transfer vinyl, auto release can be really good because you can be laying out your next job and all that kind of stuff. I think it's just a matter of the production flow. So, if I am if I am printing more DTG stuff, for example, then yeah, in fact, with the Geonite one that I have, I can set it to have two different times. So yeah, it just again, I don't think it's necessarily a discussion of auto release or not auto release. I mean, I think it's a good tool and it's right, but again, knowing what you're going to use it for mainly, I think is what the real trick becomes. I think so.
Yeah, the best tool for the job,
Because
you can do a standard clamshell or swing away. You can do anything with that. Auto release, you just got to be you can do anything with it. You just got to be a little more careful.
Sure. And then you get into the whole clamshell versus swing away when it comes to sublimation. That becomes a whole nother. Todd's proven it over and over again. I make all sorts of stuff with the clamshell, and but it is a little bit more of an art than a straight down. Pretty much anybody can kind of do it deal. So, all right, let's see what we got here comment wise. Facebook user, again, get over to StreamYard.com/Facebook and make sure that you're giving them permission for us to see your name so we know who we're talking to here. But said, I had a cheap Amazon press and it was fine for HTV, but I didn't get good, consistent results with sublimation. So I got a Hottronics and then a DK20S. Awesome. Missy says Steve's likes the auto release and I don't. And then she follows that up saying auto for transfers, standard for everything else. There you go. I love it. Becky, I love my auto release for names and numbers on jerseys and sports tees. Oh, I can totally see that. Just hammering those in and out. That's awesome. Yep. And then, we did finally get your Amazon link.
Yeah. So there's the Amazon link. Whatever.
Yep, totally.
Go.
All right. I was too busy talking and I didn't get to my producer's
so
stuff.
While he's doing that and getting the really comes down to what you're going to use it for. At the end of the day, you got to feel comfortable with your press. You got to know a lot of it that people don't think about is the ergonomics of it. Are you good to go with it? You could have a great press, but if you don't have a great table for it and you're hunching over, you're stretching too far, that's gonna be, I think, what really gets you there. Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. In fact, Missy says it here. I like my Fusion because I'm short and clam is a reach. And I think this is an area that probably does not get talked about enough in our industry. And I know I actually spent more time talking about this at Coastal than a lot of other people. And I think people are looking at me like, whatever, dude, who cares? But the ergonomics of using these things is a real potential issue. Honestly, if I were to say, okay, what press do I really want? What would be the press that I would get if money was no object? And I'm just talking about a normal 1620, 1625, that kind of size press. I would get one of those air operated Insta presses. Yeah. Because then I don't have to, pressure's dialed in perfectly. For me to go like that is way easier than this or the whole ergonomics of heat pressing is something to be aware of. If you are shorter person, I would either get a stool or figure out a way to get your press lower. You definitely want to be able to get it into a point where everything stays inside of your body. I know my poor wife, it's got the real tall, like even I'm kind of reaching up to pull it down on that George Knight one that we've got. And after she's been in there pressing for a while, she can feel it. Her back's hurt a couple times and stuff like that. So just trying to get that ergonomics right. So what we've done is we've actually got a work table that we've put up even higher. It's actually a ping pong table that we put little blocks underneath. Yeah. It's a work table. My ping pong table that we've never played ping pong on. But so but getting that press at the right height is important too. So there we go. Steve's 6'5" and I'm 5 foot. Yeah. Well,
that
I've
becomes a
seen,
trench.
and I'll have to go back and see if I can find it, but I remember that it's been a while, and I don't know if it was on Instructables or something that I'd seen. But you remember the old, um, and they're not old, but I think of that way. The um, summer fold-up chairs, three-piece ones that
Oh
had
yeah,
the
yeah, yep.
well, they'd taken that mechanism and they had put it on the end of their heat press or the handle. So now that could ratchet down to where it was a more comfortable thing for them. And they'd bend it up, so they just used that. So it was here. Now instead of me having to reach way up here, I'm only reaching here and pulling it down with it. It was like, that's a whole different thing right there. You could probably make a business just offering things like that.
Huh. That's a really good idea. I like that. I mean, that, I love some of these innovations. Some of these things. And what normally happens though is some of these things just don't. You've got really smart engineer type people that engineer them, but they don't have the sales team behind them, so they never really kind of make a splash. I've definitely seen different products like that throughout the years, and you're like going, hey, what happened to that thing? It's just like, that's cool in theory, but they couldn't really figure out how to get it. So yeah, let's see here. So got a couple more comments coming in here, Todd. So I'm putting it in the comments here for everybody, so you can just go ahead and click on it. Well, you actually doesn't make it to the group, so never mind. That was really stupid now that I think about it. But we've got another Facebook user checking in. Good evening. So again, StreamYard.com/Facebook. And let's see here. I have a DK20S. I just need a stand. Again, Facebook user, StreamYard.com/Facebook to get it there. Renee says, I have my auto clam on an adjustable stand.
Yeah.
That's
and I think that's what moving here to the house, because there's there's a big enough difference between my height and Corey's height, and I can usually adjust to hers pretty well, but hers to mine, it isn't the greatest. So that stand that Renee has, being adjustable, that definitely changes things. Yeah.
Is that the Hotronics one?
Yeah.
How adjustable is that? I don't remember it being as adjustable as I would have hoped.
I think there's like a foot of adjustment in it.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah, we'll ask.
I guess I just felt like it didn't get low enough for some of the shorter people when I used to sell that thing. So that was always my complaint to the
Renee's
folks.
5'2", 5'3",
okay,
somewhere there.
So
it's perfect for her.
Okay. I'm all good with that. Mayra says my press is on my pool table. So pool table and ping pong tables are being used for businesses instead of actually used for entertainment. I love it. Welcome to the entrepreneurial world.
I think that just goes hand in hand with everything. Let's see if it tells me level of. That's what's great, because on some people's websites, they have tons of information, and on others, not so much.
Right. All right. Let's get to the next question here while you're looking that up, and this actually goes right along with what we've been talking about, so I think it's good. I want to invest in my business. I'm using a Cameo, converted Epson, and a press from Amazon. What should I upgrade first?
Ooh, where is your bottleneck? To me, the backbone of our business is the heat press. So, if you're not producing good quality results time in, time out, time in every day, the heat press is where I'd be. From there, I would go. It depends on which side of your business is doing more. Are you doing more on the vinyl side with the cutter? Or are you doing more on the sublimation side? On the sublimation side, I mean, there's plenty of people out there that are running an Epson and have been for years, and it's fine. So that would probably be the last thing. On a cutter, yeah, I would definitely upgrade that too, because if you're using a Cameo, if you jump up to anything with a servo motor, it's going to be phenomenal in difference of how quick you can get things done. Even going from that Cameo to something where you can cut, a 20-inch wide roll of vinyl or a 24-inch sign roll, you're going to save so much time and material. And then having that servo in there, it's just going to even give you more time back, because that there's nothing worse than sitting around waiting for something to cut. And there's been times where I've got an old red sail that's I think it came from US Cutter, or it came from Sign Warehouse, or it came from somewhere. And there's been times when I had the Graph Tech, the Cameo, and the VersaCam all running, because there was jobs that needed to go out, and I'm like, okay, this one can do this one can do this one can do that, and just push it through there. So I think for me it would be press is what I would invest in first, then cutter, and then printer. So what about you, Aaron?
I think I'm right there with you. I think like you said, where's your bottleneck, and what, where's the biggest pain point? Obviously, start there. But again, as we talked about, I think the heat press is the core, the centerpiece of our business, and because the nice part about if you go out and you get a really good heat press and you've made the investment in that heat press, the other things are outsourceable. So I can get transfers. I can get vinyl cut for me. I can get, screen printed transfers and go from there. So I think that there's definitely, for me, I would start with the heat press, but like Todd said, if you're you can't keep up with the vinyl that you need to cut, and, it's working, your press is working, because, heat transfer vinyl is certainly a lot more forgiving than other processes as far as the transfer. But, you could have washability issues and things like that if you've got cold spots and whatnot. So, if you can focus on the press, that's probably your best bet. But like Todd mentioned, looking at where your roadblocks are, that's where you want to make those investments. So, let's see here. Renee says I'm only 5'2". There we go. So the stand works for her at 5'2". I like it.
I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like six height adjustment holes on the stand. So maybe it's only about 6-8 inches, somewhere in there. So 6 inches. That's 6 inches is plenty for some people. So.
Yeah, nice. Hey, you know what I just noticed?
Yeah.
StreamYard doesn't get comments from personal profiles. So. Anyway, yeah, just FYI. So if people are watching this on your personal profile, we won't be seeing their comments. So
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't see anything that we need to answer, but I just wanted to share that as I was scrolling to find out what's going on here. So any recommendations for a stand? Mine is on an 8-foot table, but I have another press on it. Facebook user.
So, I don't know if that caddy, that one, it'll work for some Hotronics versions, but I'm not sure what else you could. I mean, you could probably adapt anything to it. I know a lot of people use the utility carts. A lot of it, for what it is, if you're the only one using it, it's not that hard to build something. Where that base is for it, and grab some 2x4 and some lumber and build a cart for it. But I know plenty of people that have used those Harbor Freight utility cart.
Yep, that's what Darren had recommended there. Yep.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people that have used those as well. The big thing is going to find something that's comfortable for you. You know what your weight is, or your height is, or where you want to be at for things.
Uh-huh.
So you can just kind of start looking. IKEA has tons of different storage solutions. So I think if you know the footprint of what you're dealing with and where you want that height to be at, you should be able to find something pretty close there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think, who else makes carts? Now, I know they normally make them for like direct garment and stuff like that, but you could potentially see they do a lot of metal work and things like that. Is Lawson will make some carts and things like that. So I think, like Todd said, though, just got to find what's right for you. Depending on what it is, if it's a Hotronics, they do have that caddy. I think GeoNight does have their own stand as well. I don't know if it's adjustable. I think I remember putting it together once at a trade show. So, but it's been a while. So, check with your heat press manufacturer folks or who you got your presses from, they may have some.
A universal stand.
There you go. There you go. So got some stands out there and stuff like that. We can see you now. So yeah, for whatever reason, Facebook likes to clear the authorizations. So if you're still showing up as Facebook user, which you are not any longer, if you'll head over to again, StreamYard.com/Facebook. That will give permission to StreamYard to be able to show us who you are. All right. Janessa says, I'm still using my Cameo Silhouette 1. I've upgraded my press and sub printer. I'll probably upgrade to a new cutter next year sometime. So there you go. So there's your progression. I think if I remember right, she did press first and then sublimation printer to Janessa. Let me know if I'm wrong there, but press, sublimation printer, and then Cameo next. So
yeah, perfect.
There's a way to go. Renee says, shipping dimensions are 33 inches, and it says it's adjustable to 40 inches. So that's for that Hotronix caddy. That's
7 inches.
There you go. All right. All right. Let's get the next question here, Todd. This one will be fun. I'm looking forward to hearing your answer on this, because I'm not sure I got a good answer, but we'll see. This has been, okay. Well, I'm going to give it away before I even put it out there. So, all right, here we go. What's the best way to tell a customer that the size of the shirt they ordered is too small for them?
Fatty layout Twinkies. What I have traditionally said is because there's quite a few shirt brands that, a large is not a large. We just know that. And so what we've, break it to me easy by saying, I wish that there was no labels inside there that said sizes. It was just colors, so I could say you're a blue. A lot of times, when these cuts are made, they're made over in China, so they're using the Chinese people or what they're
Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, they're using those for sizing. So a small China is like a super small an American. So Americans are larger in general. So the best thing that I do, because I just ran into it recently, is I know somebody is larger than what the shirt that they ordered. And so what I tell them is, here is the schematic of the shirt. Every shirt that if you're, I can't say that's for sure because I don't know where everybody orders their shirts from. But with me ordering from Sanmar and SNS, you can go get the spec sheet and it'll tell you the measurements of the shirt. And so what I do is I send that to the customer and I tell them, go find the shirt that you feel the most comfortable in and lay it out and measure it compared to this. And that's the size that you need to be in. Don't worry about the size. Just worry about what you want to feel comfortable in. And a lot of them have got that. And this one says, nope, this is what I want. And I know it's going to be small. And she's very chest heavy, and maybe that's what she wanted. But it was that's the easy way to tell them is, here, measure this to this. And when we have the retail store, it's a lot easier for them to try things on. When we were online, no. And that's when we send it out and be like, okay, here's this, and you get that. Okay, yep, okay. So you saw the sizing for this, you picked it out. That way, when they come back of, hey, this shirt's too small, what can we do? You picked it out. I gave you all the information, told you how to do it, and be your best. Maybe run a couple laps. I don't know.
Yeah, I think like you said, I would go with that same idea. Instead of trying to tell them that they shouldn't be in a medium, that they should just showing and sharing the dimensions, the actual size. And I would spin it like this. Is that I want you to be in a shirt that you're going to love and want to wear every day. And so if this thing shows up and it's not comfortable to wear, that's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for me. So I just want to share with you, here's what the dimensions are. And I like your idea about having them measure up against a current shirt that they have that they are comfortable in. And then they can kind of pick the right size from there. And I agree with you, why do we need small, mediums, and larges? Like one of these days, though, I do think that we're going to get to a point where I can just go out and say, I want an Aaron size shirt.
Oh. Yeah, everything can be tailored.
Custom made. Yeah, it'll be perfect. So, all right. So speaking of telling a customer the size of something, I've got the next question that is here. One second, I'm getting it pasted in here. Okay, so let's see if this makes sense here. Maybe it's trying to save. I don't know what's going on with this right now. Let's see. We got a comment here, so I may have to come back to that. Renee says, I do the exact same thing, Todd. Perfect. Okay, good. So I can't get the banners to work right now for whatever reason. We're having some background problem, but we've got two more questions
All right.
left here, Todd. So I'm going to read this one and then see if I can get it up there while you're answering. But it's along the same lines. But what's the best way to tell a customer that the size of the art they sent is small or won't work? Oh, there it goes. It did actually work. There we go.
Oh, so that one is, God, it's garbage in, garbage out. It's hard to explain that to a customer. And what we've said is, when they send something that's 4 inches, a 4x4, here's my business card size, and I need this as a full front. We just tell them, hey, due to the limitations of the artwork, if we try and take it that big, it's going to become distorted. So that's where we need a clean vector file that'll allow us to scale it to any size without loss of resolution. And a lot of times, if you can, because it's hard to show that to somebody, because when you take a picture and you put it on there and here's your mock-up, it's still going to look the same. It's not a lot of times until it comes to the printout where they'll actually see it. So you do your best to try and zoom in on a fuzzy spot and say, this is what it's going to look like. You do your best to help them understand why. And it's just like the big thing that I've used before on somebody is the rubber band trick, where if you take the rubber band and you just write, especially if you have the thick one, and just write out a name and then stretch it out, and what it does, say, that's what happens. When you take this is what it's going to look like, where it looks great here and this little piece here. When we go to take it out, and this is what happens. It distorts it. So that's something that I've used as a visual for people to make them go like, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah. And I would say this, Todd. I think exactly what you're saying is the best way. And just kind of educating is, I think, what really it comes down to. But if this is something that you're getting a lot of, again, any question that you get asked more than once or twice or 3 times, I think that you should make that a blog post or something on your site or something along those lines, to where you get in there and explain it. And you have, it's not that you just say, hey, go read this, but you can kind of come back to them and explain it and say, if you want more details and kind of just see, so, like you said, take some pictures, do the actual side-by-side comparison of a 300 DPI versus 72 DPI, going from 1 inch to 8 inches or whatever. But if you have those frequently asked questions or frequently needed to be resolved issues like this, I would say put that on your list of things to make sure that you, like I said, put it in as a blog post on your website or a page on your website, or posting, do a video about it or whatever. Get that content out there, because now not only can you answer the question, but now you can take a lot of that out of there. Plus, if people are on your website, they can answer their own questions for themselves. People like to do that. I would prefer to, do all my own customer service work for myself if I can find it on somebody's website, make it easy. So anyhow, I guess my point is, do what Todd said, but take that one step further and make it a frequently asked question blog or page or whatever is going to work for you and your business. So that makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And once you have that set up there, then it's really easy when somebody says, hey, what do you need for artwork, or what do I need to do? Or when they ask for that next step, is send them a link to it. Yep, here's what's required. And if you have any questions, we can go from there. But at least they have a better informed spot, and it's easy for you to access when you have something like that. Where here, you can just click on this, it'll go there, you'll find the information. Hopefully, it gets them all the information they need.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, good deal, Todd. Let's get the next one here. Next and last one, actually.
Next and last. All right.
Yeah. So there you go. What is the best way to store your files?
I use Dropbox. I had to think for a second. I use Dropbox is what I use. I've used it for a couple of years now and haven't had any issues with it. I know there's other cloud services out there that people use. I know some even have like what's that whole home networking thing where it stores.
They're setting up their own server. I think I saw Joseph on a post on that today, actually, talking about that. Um, yeah, Dropbox is a good one. So you got Dropbox. I actually personally use Google Drive, and have actually paid for the storage. It seems a little bit cheaper to me than Dropbox, but I guess it just depends on what you're using and how much you're using. So Google Drive, Dropbox. I think there's one called Box out there. Rena, there we go. Excellent, thank you, Rena. I use Carbonite. That's a good one. I've seen people that like. I actually have a external hard drive that I will kind of take overflow stuff to. It kind of goes from drive into my external hard drive. Because when you've got it on an external hard drive, the problem with that is that at some point, if that thing kicks the can, which yes, exactly. So it's that's the last resort before it gets purged, is to go onto the external hard drive. And Renee, OneDrive is a good one. I have actually known somebody to set up an Amazon web server and use it as that.
Oh yeah. That's the AWS.
Right? AWS, yep. So we actually use AWS for hosting the Two Regular Guys podcasts. Now you can set it to either be open to the public, which is what we do with the podcast, so you can download them from there, or you can obviously have it not be accessible to the public for drive stuff that you want to store. So yeah, Arena says, yep, you need to have it in several places. So that definitely very important. And I think the other thing that I've noticed, at least for myself, Todd, that is that one of the issues is that when I'm not as organized as I'd like to be with my files, I tend to have a lot too many files, like excess files or multiple saves. So the more organized I can keep my filing system for my online files, I think the smaller my file sizes are that I need to be storing too. So I don't know, just a thought there as well. What else, Todd? What else have you thought about or tried using?
So before it was, the external hard drive and the USB sticks, because it was easy to just save it off on this, and then I just would just have it. It seemed like every trade show we went to, that's how everything was coming across, and then so you would just have clear that out, and there's an extra one. And then I used it a lot for switching stuff between terminals, and then I lost one. I take that back. Somebody stole it. I didn't lose it, because why would I lose anything? So somebody came into my shop and stole it, and there was like a good load of stuff that I needed off of that, and that sucked. So I'm like, never again. We're going cloud-based, and it just so happened that day is Dropbox sent me something with a deal and email. I'm like, yep, that's what we're going to use. And
totally.
I haven't looked back since. And now there's probably cheaper options out there, but for us, for what we do, it's worked out great. Whether I'm working here, I'm working on the computer, I have so the terminal set up for the VersaCam, the terminal set up for the Pro Spangle, those are all on Dropbox. So it doesn't matter where I'm working. I can send the file to our Dropbox, and they can just, download straight from there. And there, it's able to access it. Yeah. Because I don't have to do anything. Yeah, I'm able to access it from there and download the file and be, right there with it. And yeah, we have that tied into, I think, every laptop that we have, desktops that we have. So everything kind of falls into place one with it. Now, when we move back home, will I need something like that? Absolutely. Because even though, I can hardwire everything together and make it work being in the house, I still don't want to take that risk of losing files ever again. So
yeah,
I don't think Dropbox is going anywhere. I don't think Google's going anywhere. I don't think any of that was always, in the beginning, the big thing. I remember when we first started doing an online thing, the company I worked for, I don't know, 8-9 years ago or so, and Google had courted us to, like, here, join our service. Here's what we get, and it was like the Google phone and the internet and everything that came along with it. And our boss had a real serious question with it. What happens if Google's gone tomorrow? And like looking back on it, but yeah, what happens if one of those were to be gone tomorrow? Where would your information go? So still have that
Yahoo or
go back to Yahoo or
Netscape or what? Yeah, I'm trying
to crawler. We're gonna check out that one. And we'll see, because now that the government is suing Google, we'll see where that all plays out. If they've got to divide resources up or what. But Dropbox, hey, for the cost of it, it's just a business expense, and it works nice. I like being able to access it from my phone or the laptop or the desktop, or it doesn't matter. I can sign into it from anywhere and get what I need.
Yeah, I've got a Dropbox account. In fact, several, because you could get more storage if you signed up new people. So I actually signed it. I've got 27 different email addresses, so I got a whole bunch of extra storage. But the reason for me, Todd, that I've switched over to really using Drive more than anything else is just because I am so actively in Google World all the time. I use Gmail. I use Docs and Sheets and all that other kind of stuff. So I pretty much live inside. I even got a Google Pixel phone. So it was just easier. I can definitely access the Dropbox stuff, but it was just easier for me to switch over to the Drive. I know Renee mentioned OneDrive, so if you're typically more of a Microsoft person and you're using Outlook or whatever, then OneDrive's probably going to be more up your alley. So I think that there's lots of different options, but I think what Renee had said is the other thing, though, is to make sure that you do have kind of some backups to it. So if it's in the cloud, you should be good. Dropbox and Drive and OneDrive, I'm not real worried about, but at the same time, if you got something that's really, really important that you can't ever recreate, then yeah, I'd have it at a couple different places. So, and then Alicia says, I use Nextcloud. It's secure. Cool. I have not heard of that one. I'll have to check that one out. Nextcloud. All right, cool. All right, Todd, let's see here. What else do we got here? Jesse's heading out, so thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And I think we're just about ready to head out too. But if you have other questions for next time, which will be the 4th of November, 2 weeks from now. So that's the 4th of November. You can just head to oursuccessgroup.com/QA and you can get your question in. We did have one question earlier, Todd, from Mayra, and even though it didn't come in through QA, I think let's just take a quick crack at it here real quick, and then we can call it a night. How's that work? All right. Yeah. Mayra says, I've been asked to do 30 waffle towels, 16 by 24 sublimation. How much would you charge?
I'd sub it out to Aaron and mark it up 25%.
No, I don't. No, thank you. I'm not doing waffle towels.
I don't know, because I don't know what your cost of materials are. I don't know what your overhead is. So it's hard to say, here's what the cost of it is. Yeah. I don't know off the top of my head what a towel is costing. Let's say if you multiply that by 3, and then you've got your overhead on top of it, and then you should make money. But without knowing what your overhead is, I can't say what to charge for it.
Yeah, I'm right there with Todd, because the other challenge becomes like, what are you pressing on it? Are you trying to do all over? Or are you just doing at the part that hangs over the oven or whatever? So those things come into play. How much are you getting the waffle towels for? Where you're getting them from? I've seen prices ranging all over the place. Which sublimation system are you using? What's your costs involved with that? And then, what Todd says, what's your shop rate? What's it cost you to open your doors every day, and kind of going from there. So yeah, I think unfortunately digging down into that a little bit more, probably necessary. I honestly don't think that, 30 is a whole lot. I mean, I know that that's not a small number, but doing 30 of them, I wouldn't charge a whole lot less than doing one. I mean, that's the one thing I think that I would love to see people that are sublimators do, is start educating their customers on the fact that there's not a whole lot of efficiencies of scale doing 1 versus doing 30 when it comes to sublimation. You're not gonna, be able to cut out setup and all that other stuff. It's, you could do 30 separate individual towels for 30 different people, and it all be pretty much cost you about the same thing as doing 30 for one person. So outside of maybe some art and setup and in the front end side, but even then, you should be charging for that art separately anyhow. So
yeah, so I'll stick to my original. Just sell it out to Aaron.
Since I don't make waffle towels, that's going to be tough.
Wow.
I do not. Missy says, new to sublimation, how does it work with waffle towels? So Missy, that pretty much quick and easy. A waffle towel, typically they're polyester based, and it's just like sublimating on any other soft good. The nice part about it is for whatever reason, I don't know how or why, but the waffles don't seem to get smashed. So I've never had an issue with them.
I've smashed the hell out of them too, and they don't go away. So it's kind of nice. And it's been a couple of years, but hey, when you print what people ask for, you print what you like. So if you're good at doing waffle leaf towels and you've got your pricing down and you're making a killing at it, keep making them. It was something that I got a request for and made sure they paid for it, because it's not something that I do, on a consistent basis.
Yeah. Missy says, but the highs and lows, it's not. Now, one of the thing is with the waffle towels, I've not seen a whole lot of them that to me like stand out, like it's super vibrant. And I don't know if that's but maybe the ones that I've seen aren't 100% poly. So maybe there's some other, I don't know. I mean, I think you're going to get that little softer look to it in general, but again, just the ones that I've seen, and so I don't make a whole lot of waffle towels myself, but
well, maybe that sounds like an upcoming Tuesday with Todd, is we're going to see what happens with some waffle towels.
Okay. Try some different ones.
Get some different images and see what we get for it.
Yeah. But I guess, Missy, to kind of close that thought though, when you've got it under the press, it does smash it down enough to you're not getting, you're still getting pretty even transfer. So we do have a few at home, and I know we've made a few, but never been a big seller for Kylene. So we'll probably don't have the right designs, but that's a different story altogether. And then Renee says, unless you're when we were talking about the efficiencies of scale, when it comes to sublimation, unless your blank cost goes down, don't lower the price. I think that, even at that, depending on, I always like to try to buy at that higher point if I can anyways, or at least price based on that, and then, make extra profit when, where you can. But it gives you some room to maneuver. If somebody's like, hey, I want 30 of them, can you give me a better deal? Okay. Give them a couple points, a couple percentages off.
Yeah. I always price mine off column 1 and then buy as far out as column as I can, because that way, if somebody by chance needs one, here's what it is. They're going to pay this astronomical price for one, because hey, it's just one, and you just kind of go up from there. It's almost like yard signs. I can get, $25 for a yard sign. And then when somebody orders 50 of the same one, it drops down to like $750, because hey, there's only one. One is just one is the loneliest number.
Yeah. I guess it just depends on where your business is at, because, depends on what you're trying to encourage. If that's the case and you don't want to make one, then you price it like that. But if you're cool with making one for a lot of different people or something like that, then, you probably don't want to have this need to have a bunch of people, do 30. I don't know. I just think that it depends on where you're coming from and what your business is all about. So, all right. And Joseph eats chicken and waffles. So
he does eat chicken and waffles.
My favorite chicken and waffles is a place called Lolo's out in California, Joseph. So tell me if you've been there. I've been to the one in Long Beach and in LA. My God, it is like the most amazing waffle I've ever had. And the chicken's really good too, but the waffle's just incredible. So,
fun fact, I've never had the two together.
I've had them together. I think when I eat them, I bet Roscoe's. Yes. Thank you, Joseph. I said it wrong, not Lolo's. Roscoe's chicken and waffles. That's right. Absolutely. So So when I go there, I normally eat the waffle first and then eat the chicken. I mean, I don't mind if I get some syrup on it or whatever,
Yeah,
but I normally am not eating it together. So
yeah, I don't think
that's
I've ever ordered that. I've had it in at places, but I don't think I've ever went and that sounds like, hey, that's what I'm gonna eat. That's what I'm gonna order off the menu.
yeah,
And I don't know why. It just whatever.
cool. All right. Well, Todd, and we've been over an hour, so let's go ahead and call it. Thanks for being a trooper and hanging in there and answering all these questions. It was a good conversation. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and being a part of Q&A with TNA. And again, look for that to come back on the 4th of November. Todd, tomorrow you're looking like you got good color in the face, so I'm thinking you're going to be on tomorrow. What's happening tomorrow?
Looks like we're gonna be on 5:30, 6 o'clock. When I rescheduled, I forgot that tomorrow is parent-teacher conferences, and we got lucky enough to be chosen to have in-person ones. Amazing.
So okay, never mind.
So
right.
Yeah, we get to go to the school to have a conference with the teacher. That our kid only sees 4 hours, whatever. So I think those go from like 4 to 5. So I'm gonna say 5:30, 6 o'clock. It just depends on how everything rolls with that. But
All right. What are you covering?
We're gonna do the. I gave 5:30, 6 o'clock, or I was gonna do it at 2. So I threw that out there. So by in the morning, I'll know what people had wanted to see. I'm assuming the 5 to 6, and we're gonna do that sublimation on the glow in the dark heat transfer vinyl. Pretty simple process, but I mean it's definitely a cool look and something that you can this time of year is a fun thing to do. So we'll walk you through the steps of that, and it should be fun.
Yeah, that does sound like a good Tuesdays with Todd. So either 2 o'clock or 5:30 or 6. We'll see you tuned in for that on Friday at Two Regular Guys podcast right there. We will be having Scott Ritter from the Dax show will be joining us, but not to talk about Dax. I'm sure we will. Hard to not talk about his company and what they do, but Scott has been around for a long time in this industry. He's a screen printer, still does screen printing as well, and been a decorator. So, and then just has a really cool story. He's been a radio DJ. That's why his announcements at the Dax show are so awesome. He's got that smooth radio voice, and so we're gonna what's different then and now, and kind of talk about his history and go from there. So looking forward to talking to Scott on Friday, and then on Saturday at 12:30 Central Time, I will be diving into week 2 of our 10-week series from the Success Principles. And last week we talked about the life purpose exercise, and this upcoming Saturday we're going to learn how to define what we want and within our business, our lives, whatever, and go from there. So looking forward to doing that on Saturday.
Sounds good. Sounds like we got a busy rest of this week coming up. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All right.
Yep. And then what I'm really, really excited about, though, Todd, is Friday at late afternoon, early evening, depending on where you're at in the country, will be our very first call for the Masters of Success Mastermind group. So those of you that are part of that, can't wait to get that kicked off and really kind of put the boosters to your business. So
your business, we need that shirt.
If I just knew a guy that can make a shirt like that.
Business basics boosters to your business. Oh, there we go.
All right, Todd, if you do the designs, I will print them. It's just the design part that I suck at. So.
Yeah, I just need to get some designers on staff, and
exactly. I am having some socks, our Success Group socks designed. So.
Nice.
Stay tuned.
I wore socks, so it'd be amazing.
Well, sorry.
I haven't wore socks since the last week of February. So it's been a long time.
I've got I can't get my leg up that high. There we go. I've got
Stars and Stripes.
Star socks on. So
it's been I may have put on the hoodie and maybe pants, but I'm still not putting socks on or real shoes.
Wow.
I'm gonna see how long I can go. I said my birthday is when I will put I might put socks on because if I'm wearing shoes, I have to put it on. That just feels weird. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and go.
See,
10
I love
months.
my decorated socks. I'm all about my decorated socks. So. All right, Todd. I think we've done plenty of damage today. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in. And Todd, appreciate you being a trooper. I know you're not feeling 110%, so best wishes for you to get better right away. And we will see you tomorrow on Tuesdays with Todd.
On Thursday. What was that?
On a Thursday. It's kind of like Taco Tuesday, but on a Friday.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect.
Tuesdays with Todd, but on a Thursday. Yeah.
Switching things up.
All right, everybody. Have a good one. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you guys.